So when you're doing long division, you have to be asking yourself, there's got to be an easier way. And there is, but there are a couple of catches. All right, so let's look at this simple long division problem, right? This 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 4x plus 5 divided by x plus 2. There's all the long division shown out in the first box. Okay, here at the upper left. Okay, there's my remainder, right? There's all my work shown. Okay, if you eliminate all of the variables, so x plus 2, we're just going to write as 2. And then notice there's all my leading the coefficients in front of each term. There's the coefficients. There's the numbers I subtracted, right? I subtract 2, I subtract 4. If we keep this up, and then everything kind of matches up. All right, notice that what we can do with this is kind of change it a little bit. Notice the 2 has now become negative 2. So what this is that this matches, here, let me change my highlighter color here. Okay, so this right here, that's my divisor. This is the related 0. So negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So if you put the 0 on the outside here, you get your divisor. Okay, the next thing you're going to look for, is there any ways that you see the answer? Do you see the answer anywhere in this bottom right? Notice you do. Your answer is right here. There's the coefficients that go with your polynomial. And if you look as well, you will see that your remainder of negative 31, there's my remainder right there. Okay, so this process we can actually find using we can use something called synthetic division, which is actually from the long division. You have to do it a little bit differently, but it is a great trick. The problem is this trick only works if your divisor is linear. So it has to be x to the first power. If it's x to the second power, it won't work. It only works for x to the first power. Now, if you have an x to the second power and it happens to factor, then you could do long division twice and get the answer using both of the zeros from the factorization. But for most of the ones that we're going to do in my class, it's just going to be a linear divisor out here. So here are the steps. I will give you a second to press pause and read through them. I will not read them to you because I know you can. So we are going to go through these steps while we do this synthetic division. All right, so, and again, I may explain it a little bit differently than those steps just because, everybody learns a different way and everybody kind of explains it a different way. So the first thing I look for is the divisor. Here's my divisor. All right, so that divisor, I need to find the 0 of that divisor. So set that equal to 0, and that gives me a 0 of 2. So 2 is what goes on the outside. So I put 2 in a little box. All right, then I take my dividend and I take those coefficients and I put them in order. Again, if you need a placeholder, very important that you put a placeholder there. So we have a 3x cubed, we have a negative 2x squared, we have a 5x, and we have a 4. So no placeholder needed. All of my terms are in order and are represented. All right, and then I'm going to put a line down here. Okay, so this is how it works. You take the first term and you bring that down. There's nothing you need to do with this. Okay, then you're going to do your multiplication. So 2 times 3 is 6. So I'm going to do this, so you're going to multiply this way. So 2 times 3 is 6, and then you're going to put that answer up here. So 2 times 3 is 6, so 6 goes here. You're going to add going down. So negative 2 plus, so you're going to do your addition as you're going down the column. So negative 2 plus 6 is 4. And then again, you're going to repeat, do your multiplication. So you're going to do the 2 times 4, which is going to give you 8. The 8's going to go right there. Right, then do your addition again. 5 plus 8 is 13. Okay, and then do your multiplication again. 2 times 13 is 26, so positive 26 goes here. And then again, you're going to add going down. So 4 plus 26 is 30. So these 3 digits should be our answer. Now, this is how you're going to know what power to use. If you are taking a cubic and you are taking out a power of x, your answer should have an x squared, right? Because you're taking out a degree. So you're starting with a 3rd degree polynomial and you're taking out a 1st degree polynomial. So you should be left with a 2nd degree polynomial. So this is going to be 3x squared, and then they should be decreasing, plus 4x plus 13, right? There's your original. And then here's your remainder. This number that's left here is always going to be your remainder. So my remainder is going to be plus 30. And then remember, write that remainder over the original divisor. So that's your answer. So that is a different way of doing long division. We call it synthetic division. It's much faster, and the more you practice it, the faster this will go. So I do like it. I have used it quite a bit. I'm not going to lie. I like this a lot more than long division. All right, so let's repeat some problems that we did earlier so that you can go back from the last video, because I want you to be able to go back and see that you're getting the same answers. So we did this example when we did long division in the previous video. So let's set it up as a synthetic division problem. So here's my divisor. So my 0 will be -1. Put that in the little box. Up here, up top, that's going to be my dividend. So it's going to be 1, 3, and -2. No placeholders needed. All is well with the world. All right, so bring down the first one and then get started. So -1 times 1 is -1. Add these two together. -3 plus 1 plus -1 is +2. Multiply. -1 times 2 is -2. Add those together. You get -4. So this is going to be your remainder. Right, we're starting with a second degree, so my answer should be a first degree. And that is where these two are going to come in. It's going to be 1c plus 2, and then my remainder of 4 over, so I'm going to subtract 4 over c plus 1. So if you go back to the previous work that we did, and I will flash back to it just so you can contrast and compare. I have it in my notes here somewhere. Hold on. I'm working on it. There we go. Okay, there's my answer when I did this using long division in the last video. Notice I have exactly the same answer that I got using synthetic division. I just happen to find synthetic division a bit not nearly as labor intensive, so I'm a big fan of using it whenever I can. There are times I can't use it, but on the times when I can, I am definitely going to make sure. Right, so here's another example that we did using long division. So again, here is my linear term. So what is the 0? So 3x plus 2 equals 0. Means that my 0 is not going to be a whole number. So if it's not going to be a whole number, here's something that you can do. So I would stop right there and be like, okay, let's erase this and let's talk about what we can do. If you have a number in front of the x, what you can do is divide everything by that number. So divide everything by 3. So I'm going to divide the dividend and the divisor because I want that dividend to just be linear with an x. So this is going to be x plus 2/3. So that makes it very easy for me to see that my 0 is going to be -2/3. That is my 0. So in my box is going to be -2/3. And I know some of you are like, oh no, fractions, but you all have scientific calculators. You can do this. So not a big deal. Right? If I divide my divisor by 3 as well, I get 9x cubed plus 8/3. Okay, so that is going to be what I'm going to put down here. So I've got 9x cubed. There's no x squared. There's no x to the first, and then there is that final one. So there is my setup for my synthetic division. All right, and then it's just the same process we did before. So, and the setup is the hardest part. So just remember, divide everything by whatever that coefficient is in front of your divisor. And then set everything up the way you did before. All right, so we're going to bring down the 9. -2/3 times 9 is -6. So we're going to bring that up here. Add. Again, remember, we add going down. So 0 plus -6 is -6. And then again, do the multiplication. -6 times -2/3 is +4. And then again, do your addition going down. So 0 plus 4 is 4. -2/3 times 4 is -8/3. Oh, look at that. And my remainder is 0. So there's my remainder. So no remainder. This will be my answer of my quotient. So we started with a cubic, and we were taking out a linear term, so this should be an x squared. So my answer should be 9x squared minus 6x plus 4. So that should be my answer. And again, if you were not here for the long division tutorial, let me scroll back. There is the long division problem I did. And look at, do I get the same answer? I totally do. 9x squared minus 6x plus 4. No remainder. Look at that. Amazing. I don't know about you though. I find that this, oops, that's my previous notes. All right, so that is my final answer. Just a lot easier. All right, so one last example that we had in the long division as well. All right, notice I've got a 7 in front of my x. So that's the first thing. I'm going to divide everything. This is going to get divided by 7. All of this is going to get divided by 7. So this will give me x plus 3/7. So that tells me my 0 is negative 3/7, and that's what's going to go in the box. All right, then you're going to do this one, divide everything by 7. It's going to give you 4x squared minus 23/7 x minus 15/7. So those are your coefficients. So 4 goes here, negative 23/7 goes here, and a negative 15/7 goes here. So there is my setup for synthetic, and then we're just going to go through the process. Bring down the 4, multiply. So negative 3/7 times 4 is negative 12/7. Then you're going to add, again, going here. So that's negative 5. Negative 3/7 times negative 5 is positive 15/7. Oh, look at that. So add, and I get 0. So there's my remainder. So my final answer should be 4x minus 5. Because I started with a squared, I'm taking out a linear, so I should end up with a linear. And again, if you were not here for the long division, I can flash back to that as well. We did this as a problem. I just have to find it in my notes, which of course I can't find it right now. Maybe we did. Oh yes, we did do this problem. Whoops. Oh, and then of course I dragged my cursor and lost the slide. I promise you it's here. There we go. So there was the long division, and notice I got the answer of 4x minus 5. So this synthetic division is a great little tool. The more you practice it, the faster you'll get at it. So hopefully you'll practice both, because there might be times that you need to do the long division. And sometimes the synthetic division is just going to be all you need. So make sure you know both methods, because they are both important. All right, come back next time and we will start looking at solving equations that have these rational expressions, that have these division problems in them. How do we solve those? So come back next time and see that.